Well guys, the RTX 3090, a card which came out 4 years ago costing 1500 bucks, can now be had for under 500 bucks. Does it mean you should buy it? Well, probably yes, but there are a few compromises which you need to be prepared to make. So I say we get straight into the video and discuss them. Welcome back at ImWateringPSUs, and here we are with a revisit of the RTX 3090 in 2024. Now I'm gonna start this off by saying that look at my personal PC on the side. You see that? That's an RTX 4090 Inno3D iChill X4. So it's the GPU I've picked in my daily driver. And I have the luck of having on hand every single piece of hardware on the market because I build computers. I decided the best value for money at the moment is that one. So that should tell you something about where this video is heading. This little beast has 24 gigabytes of VRAM and it's the top of the line card for the RTX 3000 series. Well, there's also the RTX 3090 Ti, but these are a little bit more rare, usually quite a bit more expensive. So if you could find one for maybe 10% more than a 3090, then the same thing would apply to that card, but usually they are so much more expensive that they're not worth the difference. So we got that out of the way. Something else which I should tell you is that the RTX 3080 Ti is basically a 3090 with half the VRAM and just 5% less performance, so that could also be a good buy if you can't find an RTX 3090 for the good price. And what is a good price which I would pay at time being? Well, they have dramatically come down in price. I've been putting them in PCs for a while. I made a wooden PC build with one. I've put one inside a 46 bucks gaming PC. I've put them everywhere because I think they're easy to buy, they're cheap, but now they're even cheaper. And as I told you in the intro, they are now coming down the under 500 euros or dollar price point. If you get a really good custom like a Strix, like what I have here today, they're gonna be right on the 500 bucks range, but I really wouldn't pay more than 550 bucks for a very good one with the box, with receipt. Since this is a 3000 series card, there is a big thing which you have to consider. You possibly want to buy a card which was manufactured in 2021, because that means that it is an LHR card and it for sure came out after the mining craze, and you are just more likely to have a healthy card, because that is, in my opinion, the biggest factor when deciding if you should buy a 3090 or not. But before we get into that, I say we get into the actual performance. So this card is portrayed as a competitor of the RTX 4070, but it's really not. This thing is destroying 4070 in every single benchmark out there, unless you're using frame generation 3, which is better on the 4000 series card due to new technology, but even there you could put frame gen on this and make up for it with some tricks. This card is competing price-wise with the RTX 4070 used, because the brand new 4070 is more expensive than the used this one, but performance wise is really competing with the RTX 4070 Super and even getting closer to the RTX 4070 Ti if we take into consideration the fact that this is a top of the line card, so you're more likely to get a good model, and a Strix Oshi 3090 is going to be better than 4070 Ti dual fan from some cheap brand. That gets tricky though. This is right in between a 4070 Super and a 4070 Ti as performance, which means you can play at 1080p 240 FPS in most competitive titles. In the new Call of Duty Black Ops 6 1080p, this thing is actually pushing close to 300 with the right CPU, and even at 1440p this is doing well in the 200s. However, if we are talking Warzone, this does not grant you 240 FPS stable in the new Warzone season, but you get close. If you overclock it, sure, you get there. On average, I want to say over 200. Of course, if we're talking Fortnite, we are over 300 FPS with this card, but this is a card that really shines at higher resolution and if you're recording or editing or streaming, because again, it has a massive VRAM, 24 gigabytes, which means it's double the size of a 4070 and of a 4070 Super. Double is a lot. But of course, sometimes extra VRAM is just useless. But if you're someone concerned with future-proofing, having more VRAM is not gonna hurt you. It's also gonna be super handy if you're playing at high resolution like 4K, where this thing actually gaps even more the 4000 mid-range cards, also because of a slightly faster interface with the memory itself, and in my experience the ability to push it a bit higher overclocking wise. Now, what most people are gonna tell you, I'm not gonna mention too much what this can do in productivity, but if you're doing 3D rendering or any kind of professional work where you load up the VRAM, this is simply a no-brainer because NVIDIA doesn't have any other 24 gigabytes cards aside from this and the 4090. So if you want 16, you need to get like 4080 Super, which is a lot more expensive, and I think this is just a good budget entry-level point for a high VRAM PC. It's also going to be very good for AI if you need it for stable diffusion, of course. I had a period where I was just building PCs for stable diffusion a lot because they wanted more VRAM, and we were using used 3090s. They were going very well. So now we have the performance out of the way, but people usually with flagship cars like these, they're going to tell you, yes, but 4000 series is a lot more efficient due to generational improvement, smaller production process, and that's actually true. But they don't take into consideration that NVIDIA pushed this card out of the box quite a lot. So if you undervolt it, you're actually going to beat a 4070 in efficiency. And of course, this is what we do on the channel. We do undervolting, overclocking guides, mostly that and budget PCs. So I have a tutorial for you in case you want to do it. After being undervolted, this card draws real world around 200 watts, 250 watts peak, which is very efficient. And we are talking max stress scenario by keeping the original clocks. If you want to drop it, then you're dropping into RTX 4070 level performance. So the argument kind of loses its power, in my opinion. Of course, you could also undervolt a 4000 series card, but the gain you're getting undervolting a 4070 is smaller than the gain you're getting undervolting one of these. So we have basically established that this card is cheaper than a 4070 and a lot cheaper than a 4070 Super, because these cards right now are around 550 to 600 bucks, brand new. So this is cheaper and faster, and also if tweaked, more efficient. They're also gonna look cooler on average because flagship cards usually have cooler customs, which means you can get, for this price, a very cool model like I've gotten, which also looks good in your build. And we've also covered how that's not gonna be an issue cooling wise, because this card did not actually have cooling problems. Again, I put it in a 45 bucks case in a TechWare 4 Gem 2 with a very questionable ventilation, and the card was running great. So why shouldn't you buy it if it is so good price-wise, performance-wise, temperature-wise, and it also has the cool factor of telling your friends? Well, this really gets down to the whole used market argument, and also the fact that this card went through the mining craze. So a lot of these were misused. So I think if you want to buy one, you need definitely don't buy one of these in a PC from a PC flipper, okay? It's gonna probably be a bad idea because, of course, I understand the business, but if you're flipping PCs, you know, you just buy a card, put it into the PC, it's not your card, you don't know where the card comes from. I think you should try to buy it from someone who is getting a 4090 and who has daily driven this thing and who has treated it properly. I wouldn't really buy a 3090 from a miner, even if he tells you like it was undervolted. I would be careful. I would buy it from someone reputable, and I would try to get the box and the receipt with it, and I would also just physically look at the card, and you can see if the dust is too much inside of it. It has probably not been well maintained. Now, this is also a card which has 4 years of age, so it should have been repasted at least once if run continuously. So just ask them if they did it, or look at the warranty seal. Ideally, I say you want to buy a card which wasn't run much, and so it means it wasn't repasted, so you can just buy it and do the repaste. You also get no warranty buying a used card like this. And now if it was well treated, I'm positive it's gonna last you a long time. But again, if it was run too much, this card suffered from a lot of VRAM overheating issues. If it was run in a rig or in a workstation with improper ventilation or settings. The problem, I think, is actually finding a decent model for the price I'm mentioning, because I've seen a lot of ads for like 480 bucks for a 3090, and it's crazy. Then I open the ad, I go take a look, and it's like no box, just the card. You can see it's very dusty. So the key part is actually finding a good seller. So if you find somebody who tells you it was his card, he looks like a cool guy, maybe he can show to you the card running in his system, and it's clear the card was belonging there, then I would buy it. If you go check out the card and it doesn't check out, don't be afraid to just walk away, leave the deal. Especially such a high-end card, you don't want to buy one that was mistreated. Ideally, if you have a friend with a 3090 who is upgrading, I'd say definitely get his card. That would be the best option. But without going too much in depth into the whole used market issue, I'm gonna say if you're prepared to buy it used, and if you are positive you can find a good sample, then it's genuinely a no-brainer to buy one. And it is holding up so well in 2024, it's crazy. Even with the RTX 5000 coming up very soon, I don't think they're gonna have a mid-range card beating this level of performance. So I can recommend it even now that we're getting closer to RTX 5000 launch. I think it can be a very good moment to buy one since they are so cheap, because people are getting 4090s already. But as usually in my videos, what I care about the most is hearing what you guys think, because it also gives me reflection of what the average consumer, the market thinks. So let me know if you would buy one, if you wouldn't buy one, or if you got one already. And also let me know what you think about it, and if you had any issues with some or trying to buy some. Very curious to know. I'll be out in the comments. And I also hope to see you guys again. If you watched the video this far, wow, you haven't got bored, maybe you want to watch some more, I have a lot on the channel. Maybe also drop a like and a sub if you want to support me. And see you guys again. Bye bye.